Hello students, in this video let's try to get a better understanding of Tennyson's poem The Lotos-eaters. In this video I'll deal with the first two stanzas of the first section of this poem. Let's begin. Students, the poem opens with encouraging remarks by Ulysses to his fellow mariners. As I have told you in my first video about the introduction of the poem, that Ulysses and his companions were going back to their homes after 10 years war of Troy, and all of them, they were tired. They do not have that much spirit or strength to move forward. So he just assures them to have courage, because very soon their voyage is going to end and they will reach at the land. He pointed toward the land. He shows them that the land is near. He says them, this mounting wave will roll us shoreward soon. Mounting word is for rising. Roll is for move. Shoreward means towards the seashore. He assures them by saying that the rising waves will soon move us towards the seashore. Now the third line. In the afternoon they came unto a land, and finally in the afternoon they reached at the seashore. And how was that land? In which it seemed always afternoon. And there is a strange thing about that land where they have reached. Means there was always the time of afternoon. So thus in the very beginning the poet has made it clear that he is going to talk about some strange land, some enchanted land, because the word seemed is there in the last line, and this seemed word shows that some unreal situation is there which those mariners are going to face. So this is the very opening 4 lines of the poem, where the speaker or Ulysses assures his tired companions, and finally they reach at the seashore. So let's move further. What those mariners observe in their surroundings? All round the coast the languid air did swoon. Here the languid word is for lazy, for lethargic, and the word swoon is there. Swoon means to faint. So here in the first line the poet is making it clear that in that very on that very land, at that very sea coast where the mariners have reached, a lethargic air is moving. Means the air or the breeze is blowing very slowly. It seems it is not moving at all. Means very slow. It seems that the wind is getting faint. The wind is getting faint. It is moving very slowly. And it is used a beautiful simile, that breathing like one that had a weary dream. It seems that the air or the wind which is blowing over there is someone breathing. And how it is breathing? It's breathing as if it is having a very weakening, very exhausted dream. Means in these 2 lines the poet wants to show or wants to make it clear that at the sea coast there is an atmosphere of lethargy, laziness. Even the wind seems to faint. The next line, full-faced above the valley stood moon. Then there is the next image of lethargy at that very sea coast, that the moon is there in the sky. Full moon is there in that valley, that very land where they have reached, that the moon is standing there full-faced. So that how strange it is that in the first 4 lines he has just told us that it is the time of afternoon. And now in the afternoon a clear full moon is also visible in the sky, and it is just standing still. Now the third image, and like a downward smoke, the slender stream. And what else is visible there? What else they observed there? That there is a slander. Slander is for thin. Stream is for a river. A very thin, very sleek, a very small river is flowing downward. And the flow of the stream is compared to the smoke. And there is a natural phenomena that smoke generally rises upward. But here he is comparing the stream with the smoke which is falling downward. So the downward movement of the smoke also shows the laziness, the lethargy, or something strange about that land where they have reached. Along the cliff to fall and pause and fall did seem. Look at the highlighted words. Fall and pause and fall. These highlighted words, they also show that very lethargy which is there in that very area, on that very land where the mariners have reached. In this last line, the cliff word is for the rocky shores, the rocks at the seashore. So in this way, in these lines, the poet is making it clear that on that sea coast, the lazy air was blowing, and the blowing of the air is compared with someone who is having a weary dream. Then there is the next picture of the moon in the sky, and the third picture of the slender stream, a slender river which is moving downward, and it is falling, then pausing, then falling. Means even in that stream there is no. So the students, the first stanza closes with the portal of a slender stream which has no energy, which is just flowing very slowly towards the seashore. So in the second stanza, they just look around, all those mariners, they look around and they find that it is a land of streams. Means so many streams are visible there in the scene. Some like a downward smoke. Here again, the repetition of that same simile which is there in the first stanza, that all the streams, they are moving just like the downward smoke. In the second line, there is another word picture, and it's so beautifully the poet has portrayed those very streams, that slow dropping veils of thinnest lawn did go. How those streams are flowing, how those streams are moving slowly. It seems as if there is a veil, there is a covering of thinnest lawn. Thinnest lawn is for transparent cloth. Slowly dropping means it is slowly, that someone is there and who is dropping very slowly the veil of a thinnest or a transparent cloth. In the next line, and some through wavering lights and shadows broke. Here the poet is giving a beautiful pen portrait of the streams on that very land, that some streets are just moving just like the dropping of the veil of the transparent cloth, and some of them are just moving through wavering lights and shadows. Wavering lights and shadows means that there are trees on the banks of those very streams, and when they move through the shadows of the tree, there is complete darkness, and when they just broke out of those very trees, there is light. So that there are wavering lights and shadows on the surface of the streams. Wavering is therefore trembling. Rolling a slumberous sheet of foam below, and at the surface of the streams there are the trembling shadows of light, but underneath there is the movement, there is the flow of a slumberous sheet of foam. Slumberous is again forward, sleepy, for drowsy. Means there is a layer of foam on the surface of the streams, and that layer of foam is also without any movement. It also seems drowsy. It also seems sleepy. And another thing is to be point out that the poet has used alliteration in this line, a slumberous sheet. In these two words, there is the repetition of the S sound, sound, repetition of S. They saw the gleaming river seaward flow. So while looking around at the streams over there, all the mariners, they found that a shining river is flowing towards the sea. Students, after describing the streams at that very land, at a distance, the mariners find that there are three peaks of the mountains are visible. From the inner land far off, three mountain tops, three silent pinnacles of aged snow. Tennyson has described these three mountain tops as three silent pinnacles. Look at the use of the adjective silent, means there is no movement in the surroundings even at the mountain tops, and pinnacle word is also for the lofty peaks, for the high mountains of aged snow, means since ages those mountain tops had been covered with snow and now they are standing silently over there. Stood sunset flushed, the light of the setting sun is reflecting on their surface. The next image, dewed with showery drops, upclomb the shadowy pine. There are upclomb word is for the high, rising very high. The very high shadowy pine trees are also visible there, and their leaves are covered with dewdrops. The last phrase is the woven copse, means all around there are green bushes, there are shrubs, and above those shrubs a high pine tree is visible and its leaves are covered with drops. So students, this is how Tennyson has opened this interesting poem, and he has just made us familiar with the land of Lotos, which he is going to describe in this poem in the further stanzas. So in the next video we'll talk about the next stanzas. I hope you must have enjoyed it. Thank you.